Hi, Carolina. Hope you're doing well. So, got your message about you said you want to like a song that was easy but longer. So this one is, I admit, a little harder than other ones that we've gone over, but it is longer, and I think you would enjoy it because it's classical music, and I know that you're a fan of classical music. This is "Ode to Joy," which I'm sure you've played before, but this is like a more fleshed out version of it. That's a little more sophisticated. Sounds a little nicer, and is like a full 2 pages. So I'm going to kind of show you. I'll have the PDF sent to you. So each hand on its own is not very hard. It's just putting them together. Okay, so in the beginning here, we're going to start with right hand finger 3 on E. And the first thing you probably want to do is just learn the basic melody. Like that, right? That's the first phrase, and then the second phrase is very similar. So that's kind of the basics of what we're working with. And then the left hand is going to kind of supplement that. And so you're going to learn that separately as well. So that's also going to be finger 3 on E. Rest 4. So you want to make sure you can do, you're going to have to play each hand separately like that at least 20 or 30 times, correctly anyway. And then very slowly you can start to put the hands together. I really do mean this slow. So the way you can think about this is that the left hand is basically following the right hand, right? So like when the two hands play together in measure 2, the right hand is moving down, and so is the left hand, right? It's moving down. But then at some point, the right hand continues to move down, and the left hand is actually out of notes. So that's the point at which it jumps up to finger 2 there on beat 4. But even after that point, it's still just following what the right hand is doing, right? When the right hand goes down, so does the left hand. When the right hand goes up, so does the left hand. Right. The only time that pattern is broken is when the left hand jumps from finger 5 to finger 2, just because it ran out of notes, basically. So it should sound, like that. So this is, from the 4th movement of the 9th Symphony of Beethoven. And then it's kind of the same deal in the next part. And again, you want to make sure you play each hand separately at least 20 or 30 times before you bother putting the hands together. Okay, the next part isn't too hard because the left hand is just holding G. And then the right hand, and again, you'll have to learn this melody, but this has 8th notes, which we haven't used in a little while, but as long as it sounds like the melody that you're familiar with, right? When you see a pair of 8th notes, just think of the word running, right? It's like quarter notes, you can think of as the word walk, and a pair of 8th notes could be the word running. So you have walk, 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 running, walk, 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 running, walk, walk, like that. That's kind of what's going on for the first half. For the second half, the right hand is just moving up an octave, so it's still finger 3 on E. It's just up here now, and it's got some 8th notes there. So again, running, running, walk, walk, da ba 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 ba. And then it looks like the same exact parts from the first half. Finally, you're going to jump down. And this is exactly the same as the part that starts at measure 9. reason I slowed down towards the end is because it says rit, which is short for ritardando, which means to gradually slow down. And I also got gradually quieter because of that decrescendo symbol there, the little thing going like that. So this is the song that I will have sent over. Let me just check how we're doing on time here. Okay, good. So let me think here. Oh yeah, by the way, if you want any additional guidance, like if you wanted to hear anybody else play it, for example, or see like a more overhead view or whatever it might be, this is Ode to Joy from Piano Adventures Level 2A. So if you just type Ode to Joy Piano Adventures 2A, this should come up on YouTube. But anyway, let's talk about the other things going on here. We've got crescendos and decrescendos, which I'm sure that you've used before. So, like when you were using the Alfred book, for example. But that's going to be, hopefully you can see it. It's in measure 2 if you want to look on your copy here. By the way, I definitely would print this out. I wouldn't read it off a phone or anything. So that way you can mark it up with a pencil. But in measure 2, we've got this, V-like symbol that's growing wider and wider, which means you're going to get gradually louder and louder. And then in measure 4, we have the opposite called a decrescendo or diminuendo. You could use either of those terms, decrescendo or diminuendo. And that's going to mean get gradually softer and softer. And the other new thing is a phrase mark. Well, I don't know if it's new, but so let's read about the phrase, which talks about at the top here. A phrase is a musical idea or thought. A phrase is often shown in the music with a slur, also called a phrase mark. Think of a phrase as a musical sentence, and each note in the phrase as a word. It's very subjective. All it really means is that this should sound like one long musical sentence instead of lots of little ones. All right, so you wouldn't want to play it like this. All right, you don't want to play it choppy. It should be nice and smooth. And then begin the next phrase, etc. So I'm going to also play this with the crescendo and decrescendo, right? It should swell to get louder and then kind of swell to get softer. So. Doing the same thing. So you see we have a nice long crescendo here in this part. And then we're all the way at forte finally over here. Crescendo there. And notice it doesn't say how much louder to get, right? That's up to you to decide how much louder to get, right? Like it starts mezzo piano, but it doesn't say how loud the loud part should be after the crescendo. Like in the first line, I mean, for example, right? So it could be as loud as forte. It could just be mezzo forte, right? That's totally up to you, right? It could be just a really modest increase, or it could be much more dramatic. Or somewhere in the middle. Probably somewhere in the middle is the best thing, right? Like the middle option is almost always the best one. But anyway, or is often the best one. But yeah, that's what's going on here. So I will make sure that this is scanned and emailed to you. And there's also a challenge at the bottom which says, can you play measures 1 through 16 with your eyes on the music, not looking at your hands? I think yes, because you don't actually move, you don't shift your hands at any point in the first 16 measures. So in theory, you should be able to play it without looking at your hands at all. They're all kind of using this 5-note position right there. Let's see. I'm trying to think if there's anything else here. We covered the crescendo and decrescendo. We covered the phrase mark. We talked about the hand shift at measure 17. We're going up an octave. We talked about how you shift back down at measure 25. We talked about the ritardando at the end. You're going to gradually slow down, and there's a crescendo at the end as well. I think that should just about cover it. So I'll show you the cover one more time. If you do end up wanting to look more, if you need any additional guidance, you can look up exactly the same piece, someone else working on it. But yeah, that should be fun. So that'll be it for now, and we'll see you next time. Take care.